1 minute.
Hi. Good morning too.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to Coffee with the Principal at Sweetwater High School. My name is Dr. Maribel Gavin, your proud principal. And I imagine that we're welcoming a lot of our parents who are returning and then maybe some new parents, which is always so exciting. And I know everyone can be very busy, but I always appreciate that you take the time to join us, and not just Coffee with the Principal, but any other meetings we offer our parents. You will, for those that are going to start getting to know me, you'll know that I believe communication is key in any relationship. So thank you for always continuing your support and communicating with each and every one of us. Now, to start, I know that we may have a lot of questions already prepared, but if you give us the opportunity to first give our presentation, we have several different topics we're going to cover today. The first one is we're going to introduce our leadership team and counseling team and other important staff on campus. So I want you to just be able to see their faces. So when I introduce them, if that person can please, again, repeat their name, their role on campus, and just give a quick hello or maybe a brief description, very brief, because we have a lot of us, as far as what you do on campus. So we will get started with that, okay? Because we do have a lot of support here on campus. So let's go ahead and go to that screen where we list all of our staff on campus. Mr. Hernandez, if you can please go to the next, thank you. All right, so you already met me. I'm Maribel Gavin, your proud principal. I am also a graduate of Sweetwater High School, class of 91. I'm actually celebrating my 30th class reunion this year. It's so exciting. And I did also serve as a teacher here for several years. Now I'm back as principal. This is my 8th year as principal at Sweetwater. And I am committed to serving our community here at Sweetwater High School and the community of National City. Next, we have our assistant principal, Ms. Ana Gutierrez.
Good morning, parents and everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Ana Gutierrez. I'm one of the assistant principals in the main office, and I have the pleasure of serving students with the last names A through F. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Next, we have Mr. Nathan Horner.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Nathan Horner. I am another one of the assistant principals. And as you can see on the screen there, I do serve the students last name G through N. Also of note, I am the kind of lead assistant principal regarding safety. So you'll look out for information regarding parent safety meetings, including our first one, which will be next Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Alex Salazar.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Salazar, and I'm another one of the assistant principals. Thank you all for being here. I have the pleasure of serving and supporting our students in the Alpha O through Z. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have another assistant principal, Ms. Deborah Morris.
Good morning. I am Deborah Morris. I'm your assistant principal of student activities, also your ASB dean. I help to oversee our ASB student activities, athletics, and then a big one that I also assist with is graduation. So senior families, I will be sharing lots of information with you throughout the year, and just want to welcome everyone back. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have our school psychologist. We have Dr. Nancy Walter.
Dr. Gavin, Dr. Walters is having trouble with her audio. She cannot hear anything, so she's trying to fix that.
Okay, no problem. So again, Dr. Nancy Walters, she's one of our school psychologists, and she assists many of our students, especially those that are who have IEPs who are in the special education department, but again supports all students. We also have Miss Maricela Herrick, another one of our school psychologists.
Good morning, I'm Marisa Herrick. I am a school psychologist here, and I have the Alpha list A through L. So I'll support all students, but on my caseload, as far as IEPs and management, it's A through L. And have a great day.
Thank you. And next we have our attendance coordinator, Mr. Joe Lara.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mr. Lara. I am the attendance coordinator here, so I can help out with any questions regarding attendance, students being absent, long-term or short-term, or anything else. So it's a pleasure to work here at Sweetwater High.
Thank you, Mr. Lara. Also, we have Mr. Kenneth Toms, our targeted support resource teacher. Not sure if he's here because I think he's in the classroom teaching. Correct? Okay. Just want to make sure everyone knows, Mr. Toms, you will start receiving communications from him. He will let families know about the different supports we have on campus, especially tutoring that we offer students, especially if they're struggling in a different subject. And also we have Ms. Rachel Griggs Hopkins, one of our after-school program coordinators. Not sure if she's here. Next, we have Mr. Brandon Rodgers, also part of the after-school program. The two of them help support our after-school program, which is free to all students. It's offered from 2:30 to 5:30 every day after school, and we have great activities for students. Some involve sports, some involve just different activities such as yoga classes, reading clubs, weight training. I mean, so many different activities, things that students enjoy doing after school, but we provide a safe environment for them to be able to engage in those activities. Also, we have our athletic director, Mr. Irvin Hernandez. Not sure if he's here because he's also teaching in the classroom, so he's probably in the classroom, but he's our athletic director. And also we have Denise Iniguez, our student program facilitator.
Good morning, parents. Welcome. My name is Denise Iniguez, and I am the student program facilitator here at Sweetwater High School. And I provide services and resources to our families and youth in transitions. And also a little reminder, I am going to put a link on our chat box. This is for you to fill out so I can take attendance. It'll take a quick minute, but I will put it in the chat box. Thank you, parents, and welcome.
Also, and my apologies, actually, I forgot to mention this. So sorry. If anyone needs interpretation, we do have interpretation services. Si alguien necesita interpretación para esta sesión, para Cafecito con la Directora, si pueden ver aquí abajo de su pantalla, ahí está un botón donde dice Interpretation. Si ven eso donde dice Interpretation, ahí pueden escoger que necesitan interpretación en español. So again, what I was saying is that if anyone needs translation services, if you go to the very bottom, there's a little icon there that says interpretation. And when you press on it, you are given the option to get interpretation in Spanish. Entonces, si necesitan interpretación en español, si aplastan el botón aquí abajo de su pantalla donde dice interpretation, ahí le da la opción para escoger español. Okay, my apologies for not announcing that earlier. Okay, and then next we have Miss Alma Martinez. She's our community relations facilitator. I believe she stepped out, correct? Okay, so again, she's our community relations facilitator, which means that she works with all of our parents, make sure that we engage our parents, offers them different supports, can get their questions answered. So you can always reach out to her. She's in our parent center, but she is just a phone call away. If you call our main campus, you call our main number and ask for Alma Martinez, our community relations facilitator, or you can also refer to her as our parent liaison, our parent supporter. They can connect you to her. And then if you have any questions, need any support, you can always reach out to her. She also helps put together a lot of great workshops for our parents throughout the year. So make sure you watch out for those in the year. We have our bilingual tester, Mr. Eric Hernandez.
Good morning, My job is to assist students that come from another state or another country that their second language is English. I assist to put them in the ELD programs. And I also, we do a lot of work with as the Welcome Center. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have our registrar, Ms. Sarai Garcia Puga.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarai Garcia Puga. I'm the registrar here at Sweetwater High School. I handle transcripts, verification of enrollments, and any student data updates that you may have. The best way for you to communicate with me is via email. I will put the information in the chat, as well as our high school Sweetwater registrar link, where you can put any request that you may have. That way we can have a response to you in the most efficient way if you need any records.
Thank you. And last but not least, kind of saved the best for last for a reason, Ms. Timea Wegner, our school nurse. If you can please introduce yourself.
Good morning, parents. I'm Nurse Wegener here in the health office. Welcome.
Thank you, Nurse Wegner. So again, I want to make sure you know who our school nurse is, because I know some of you, as we move on and progress in our meeting today, you may have some questions regarding COVID protocols, what we're doing on campus to make sure we keep students safe and healthy. And we will get to those questions, but I wanted to make sure that you could attach a face to the name that maybe you've been seeing in some emails or letters you're getting. That again is our nurse, who has been doing an outstanding job working with our families. Thank you all for being here and introducing yourselves. And again, we're always here to support you at all times. Okay, next. We have our counseling center. We have introductions and some updates. I'd first like to introduce our head counselor, Mr. Marco Garcia. Is Mr. Marco Garcia here? Oh, we lost the screen.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Marco Garcia, head counselor here at Sweetwater. I'm sorry I'm wearing my mask. We have another staff member in the room. They were having some technical difficulties, so we're both here, me and Mr. Tick Tran. But it's a pleasure to be here this morning. And we'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the counselors as soon as we get the screen up. There it goes. So we will go ahead and move in the order that we see here. I believe all our counselors are present, and if we want to go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Good morning. My name is Brenda Chavez Casas, and I'm the counselor. I tend to have the first part of the alphabet. We'll explain in a little bit what our breakdown is. I'll let Mr. Garcia handle that. But welcome, and we hope to have a great year.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Garcia. I'm also one of the counselors, and I usually have the second part of the alphabet.
Good morning. My name is Tick Tran. I'm also, again, one of the counselors here at Sweetwater High School. I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to see everyone is back as well. Thank you.
Is Ms. Vallejo here?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if you were going to go again because of the order. Good morning. My name is Miss Elena Vallejo Paez. I also have my mask on because I have one of the other counselors with us. But we are very excited to be back this year, and we're looking forward to working with your students.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Beth Luwansing Garcia, the third Garcia of your counseling team. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to On-Site School. I hope you are enjoying our continued Wellness Wednesday messages that come from me every week. And it's a delight to be back on campus, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, there was Ms. Arroyo.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ms. Arroyo. I have the pleasure of working with the end of the alphabet this year, so S's through Z's. I'm very excited to be back at Sweetwater and work with all the parents and students. Have a great day.
Sorry, Ms. Arroyo, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I jumped in a little too soon. So as you guys see, we do split our counselors up and our students up by alpha order, as we've always done. So right now you don't see that alpha up because we are in a transition period, and we should have our final alpha for the year up and running in the next week or so. But at this point, if a student needs to come in and see a counselor, they can do so, and we have counselors that are here available for them. But just be patient with us, as in the next week, we will have our permanent alpha for the school year, and all students and families will get that alpha, and students will know who their counselor is for the year. So just be patient with us. As you see there on the bottom, please always refer to SUHIcounseling.com for an updated breakdown and everything else that has to do or that comes out of our counseling center. So that is a great resource for all parents. So just briefly, I just wanted to say that as we start the school year and as we're transitioning back on site after 16 months of being away from campus for the majority of our students, it hasn't been completely smooth, but we as counselors, administrators, teachers, we're doing everything we can to get students back on campus, get everything back and running in terms of schedules, in terms of classes, in terms of all of those things that are important to our students and to our families. So just bear with us, be patient. There is some schedule changes as there is at the beginning of every year. So we just ask that families and community continue to be patient with us as we're settling everything with our students and their schedules at the beginning of this year. We also want to put out there that we continue to work hard in the areas of academics, college and career, and social emotional. Coming back from this pandemic, a lot of our students, we've seen it already just in the 2 weeks that we've been back. A lot of our students are coming with some trauma, with some anxieties, with some depressions that could have been or could have not been due to the pandemic and everything that happened with that. So just know that we are here as a resource. Counselors are here to support our students and our families, and we're ready to make referrals if that's what's needed. So just know that students are welcome here. We continue with our wellness room here in the counseling center, and I know our nurse is working with a lot of our students as well who need that form of support when it comes to social emotional. So please come by and visit, call. If you need anything right now, we're serving students, but it looks a little different just because even though we're back in person, we're trying to abide by a lot of the safety guidelines that we still want to implement, meaning masks and contact and close contact and all of that. So our services look a little different, but just know that a student can reach out to us at any time. Right now, the best way to reach a counselor is via email. So again, I'll refer you back to our SUHIcounseling.com. All of our emails are there, so parents and students can reach out to us, and we'll try to reach back as soon as we can. So I don't know if any other counselor wants to jump in with any important detail that I may have missed, but that's where we're at as far as starting and kicking off this school year with our students.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Garcia, and thank you, counseling team. We appreciate all of your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, we're going to go ahead and transition to our health and welding academies. We have some very important people here that are going to present on our health and welding academies. I'm not sure if we have Ms. Farr. I think I saw Ms. Cruz in the group.
Yes, I'm here. It looks like Ms. Farr is still waiting for her class coverage. She's teaching a class at the moment, but I can kind of fill in a little bit more. I'm Mrs. Cruz. I'm actually a math teacher here. I teach IM2, but I'm also part of the engineering team and the welding cohort. So I work closely with the Health Academy. We collaborate together on our CPA academies. We have the Health Academy, we have the Welding Academy, and these are all 3-year partnerships through the California Partnership Academies in California. So we are part of a statewide program. And I think we might be one of the few schools in our district that is part of the CPA program in the state. Mr. Eric, could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So our academies have been around for about 13 years, since about 2007. We receive additional funding from the state to ensure that our students are both college and career ready. The Health Academy has lots of different internships and externships that they prepare for their senior year. So throughout their 3 years in high school, starting from 10th grade, as well as the Welding Academy, we try to prepare our students for the real world, whether they decide to go to college in the health, for health, or for any kind of manufacturing for welding. But a lot of our students decide that after high school, they want to go straight into the workforce, and we try to help prepare for that. So we are one of the few. I think our school is the only welding academy in San Diego County. There are welding two or three health courses, welding courses, and then we have them in cohorts where they stay with a certain English teacher, math teacher, or social science teacher throughout their 3 years. So these kids are seeing the same teachers over and over again. We all work together to help build that curriculum, so it helps those kids see all the different aspects of when they can maybe practice any of these things that they are going to learn to do. Our program size varies from 200 to 300 students. The Health Academy is about 2/3 of that. The Welding Academy is 1/3 of that. Our students can enroll into the program from their sophomore year. We do ask that they continue throughout the 3 years, and then they finish a partnership within our academy, as well as they comply with some of the requirements that our CTE, which is the Career Technical Education group in our district, they comply with some of those requirements as well to complete that program through the district. So they're actually hitting our California Partnership Academy here on campus, that not all the other schools have. And then our school also is part of that career technical education aspect that other schools do have. Some CTE courses have articulation agreements with local community colleges, and those students who do well in specific CTE classes earn community college credits. So if you're in the Health Academy, I think it's Health Essentials. There's a couple of classes here listed from the Health Academy that I'm not familiar with, but biotech is one of them. These students can earn up to 8 college credits if they are, by the time they're completing the program by their senior year. So that kind of gives them a little jump start in college. They also have the ability and are encouraged to take AP honors and accelerated courses throughout the program and hopefully still complete the program. So we try to incorporate some of those AP courses in our curriculum that also flow through A through G. So for the Welding Academy, our senior English class is, I'm sorry, I can't remember it because it's 4 words. Ms. Kevin, can you help me with that one? It's expository, or it's a college ready course for English. And it's
The
an honors
expository rhetoric and writing course.
Yes, so expository rhetoric and writing. So that's almost, it's an honors course that helps prepare them for college. And then in health, they are encouraged to take AP language, honors anatomy, AP Gov. So we're always trying to encourage them to take those higher level courses, whether they want to go on to college or not. And then within the program, we host various events that will help promote college and career going culture, while ensuring that students have access to knowledgeable mentors to help them gain skills that would help them upon graduating high school. We work closely with internships, externships. We have industry partners who come and invite the students to see their facilities. Recently, the Welding Academy has come into contact with a couple of local companies, and we actually found out that some of our alumni work there. We saw Mr. Fajardo he's our welding coordinator, and so when we were invited to a luncheon, one of our former students had come back and said hello, and we just got to get in touch with him and see what he was up to. And he's very successful. He's a 20-year-old. He's been out of high school for a year or 2 years. And his title is a project manager at Standard welding and fabrication. So when we hear about all of our students coming back and their success stories from both of these academies, we really enjoy seeing that their success is based upon all the experiences they've had with us. So it's really heartwarming to see that all that, and they're just bringing it back to National City. So a lot of our kids are maybe going on to universities that are away, but then they come back and bring back their knowledge and to give back to our National City community. So it's really nice. So to help encourage that, I think it's on the next slide, help encourage our community culture. We also have, if you can see, oh, sorry, Eric, go back. Just a quick taste of the academies. There's a little icon there. We try to keep that culture together with all of us. Our taste of the academies is little luncheon that we have or event that we have at night. This year it's postponed because of all the things that are happening with the COVID, but usually we have some kind of barbecue after hours and we invite the families and we just kind of hang out, get together. We distribute materials that are specifically for the academies, such as the Health Academy gets scrubs for their senior year, t-shirts, lanyards that have their ID on it if they can, in case they have to go off campus. The Welding Academy has their t-shirts. We're going to have lanyards. So things like that to help bring the community together and let them see that they're part of this really special group. And then at the end of the year, every year, we have an Academy Awards ceremony where we honor all of our seniors with all of their accomplishments and we hand them their sashes and certificates. And sometimes we also have scholarships that are also available to these students. So we just really enjoy having all these kids throughout the whole year. We're participating in all these different things and we really want to see all of them just come together and enjoy what this academy and want to be able to talk about it after high school. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Thanks, Eric. So this is the overview for the Health Academy. It's very similar to the Welding Academy. Sorry, I don't know a whole lot about this, but we do similar things. We enroll through A through G courses. The CTE courses, there's one every year, and it helps build their skills for each year. So sophomore year would be kind of like an introductory class. Junior year is your middle intermediate class. And then for senior year, this is when the students in the Health Academy do their externships and they're able to go and work off campus. We also teach them soft skills and give them career experiences. When we talk about soft skills, we're teaching them how to interact professionally. They're speaking professionally, they're writing professionally, they're acting professional. That's when they wear their scrubs throughout the year and they're showing that they can handle being kind of like in a work environment. We also teach them how to make their resumes, how to present, all these things that even if they don't pursue their health future, then at least these are skills that they can carry on to another career. Scripps Mercy Hospital and Frederica Manor are two of the externships that are available for us. These are photos from the class of 2018. So they're interacting on campus. So the top left corner is the classroom where they're interacting with, they're actually doing a lab with a teacher. And then the bottom left is when they're interacting with some of the doctors. On the right, bottom right, you see the students wearing scrubs, and that is when they're getting sworn in, they're taking a pledge. And I think the top right is when they're all on their internship at the hospital. That's as much as I know about the Health Academy. Eric, could you move to the next one, please? Thank you. These are some of the photos that we have for the Welding Academy. So the kids actually do have a building down on the baseball field away from the campus where they have all this machinery. We have both men and women. They're all interacting with this and they're learning the hard skills for the basics for welding and soft skills. So in this building, we're fortunate enough to have it funded through the CPA Academy. And there's a nice state-of-the-art building down there. Some of our industry partners came to visit, and it was not what they had expected. It was much more beyond what they thought it would be, what a welding class would be. So we also used to have the adult school come down there and use the facilities as well. So it's state-of-the-art. It's OSHA certified, which is some of the certifications you have to meet when you're in the industry. Any company that's trying to be a company has to follow these OSHA requirements. So you see the students, they're practicing their skills. The girl on the top, on the left, is grinding down some of the metal that she probably had welded together. The kids in the middle are using the plasma cutter, and the kids on the right are practicing with the TIG welder. So right at that moment, they're not welding, but they're examining what their result was from what they practiced. So they have to practice very steadily with their hands. And so they're probably assessing what they had just done. So some of these kids have moved on. We had another student who moved on right after high school 3 years ago. He works right down the street at PCE, and he was telling us that he earns like $20 an hour, which was more than his dad. And it's just something that they're very proud of when they see that they're being a lot more successful than what their parents had anticipated. We also had a few kids. We have a young women's society through Solar Turbine. So it's the Solar Young Women's Academy. And that's a program that we have after school for a group of girls. And they also practice their soft skills. They learn about the industry. They practice putting together some of the items that at Solar Turbines. They'll take a field trip on one of the Saturdays a couple times a year, and they'll practice some of the things that the manufacturers are working on over there. I've had the opportunity to go on that field trip a couple of times, and it's very impressive to see these young ladies working with some of the engineers that are over there, and they're just jumping right in, and they're doing so excellent with everything. So it's a wonderful program to see. The Welding Academy, the Engineering Academy, we have an engineering academy that also works together with the third-year Welding Academy students. They work together on projects where the engineering students would create some kind of project, and then they would present it to the third-year welding students. And sometimes we have those students overlap. They're taking both classes, and so they can actually use all of the materials in either of their classes. So they work together, they create things. We have projects that are put together, and sometimes those kids will go off campus to an internship during spring break or maybe fourth quarter, and they'll learn a little bit more about the industry from some of our partners. And so it's a really exciting experience for some of the kids, because not everybody is college bound, and a lot of these kids just want to get their hands into something. They're ready to move on with their lives and become professionals. So we have lots of different learning opportunities and internships. We work with the community colleges at City College, and I think we're starting to move into a collaboration with, I want to say it's Mesa College, but I could be wrong, but City College for sure. And then we're also working with a few companies. We've actually reached out to other companies aside from the ones in National City. So there's a company in Santee that we're working with. There's actually two companies in Santee that we got into contact. So we're really excited to see what happens with this school year now that we're in person. Next slide, please. Here are our two program coordinators. Dr. Nicole Kransberg is actually in class at the moment. She has a class. So if you'd like to contact her and you have any questions about the Health Science Academy, she's our main contact, Nicole.Kransberg. And then Jessica Sfar, I don't know if Jessica was able to show up, but she is the other co-coordinator for the Health Academy. Mr. Fajardo is our Welding Academy program coordinator, and I am just his helper. So I'm a glorified secretary for him. So I just help him out with all the logistics. But if you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them for you. You can reach us at those emails.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Great job presenting the outstanding academies we offer our Red Devils here at Sweetwater High School. And you are more than a glorified secretary. Trust me, you are an excellent math teacher and an excellent member of our academies. Wouldn't be able to function without you. I can
It brings
assure
me
you.
joy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, before we go on to the next portion, I see that Dr. Walter was able to get the audio back. So I would like to give her the opportunity to introduce herself.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to meet everybody, even if it is online. My name is Dr. Nancy Walter. I'm one of the school psychologists here at SUHI. This is actually my 4th year working at SUHI, and I just adore this community. So I'm really happy to be with you all.
Great, thank you so much. All right, oh, we lost our presentation. I think we had Parent Center updates next. Do we have someone that's going to go over the Parent Center updates? No. I know we had Alma Martinez here earlier. Not
Dr. Gavin?
Yes.
I can tell the parents what she told me to say.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very brief. She said if you're interested in becoming part of the Title I Parent Committee or the SSC, just fill out the form, and I'm going to send the links right now in the chat box. And Ms. Martinez, our CRF, will contact you to answer any questions or give you details. And you don't need experience to apply for these positions, and language is not a barrier either. We speak Spanish, and we hope you will be interested and represent our SUHI parents. Thank you, and I will put the links in the chat box right now.
Thank you, Ms. Iniguez, for doing that. So again, I want to emphasize everyone to please consider being part of our Title I or School Site Council. So Title I basically represents the funding that we get for all of our students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. And so Sweetwater High School gets a lot of funding from the state and federal government in order to help support our students in the classroom, support their learning. And what our parents do in this committee, the Title I committee, is not only do we give you information, not only from the school, but from the district. We have a lot of different district members that come and present to us and answer any questions you may have. But then you give us some input, information on what you think we should be doing here at Sweetwater High School to best support your students. And then School Site Council, also a very important group. School Site Council is comprised of parents, students, and staff. And I'm a part of School Site Council, and we have a few teachers that are there. We have some students, and then we have a few parents. And what we do is we meet once a month for about 1 hour, and we discuss the funding that we have, and you help us decide how to spend our money. So we discuss the money that we have and what are some of the items or things that staff are proposing that we purchase with these monies. And then you help us decide if yes, we should move forward and purchase certain equipment for the classroom, software, supplies, resources, and you give us your input. So it's very important committee. So again, we highly encourage you to consider being either part of Title I, School Site Council, like Ms. Iniga said. You don't have to have any experience. You can be a Spanish speaker, English speaker. We accommodate everyone, and we help you answer any questions you may have. So please consider that. Okay, we'll go on to our next slide. All right, so at this time, we will go ahead and give you the opportunity to ask any questions you may have. Now, some of you already submitted some questions that you had, and you clicked on the link that was sent with the Coffee with the Principal invitation. And this is where you, if you have questions at home and you want to submit those before the session, you can do that. So I'm going to address those first. I'm going to address those questions first, and then I'll open it up to anyone who may have additional questions. So first question was, do we need to apply for free lunch, free or reduced lunch, or is it free for students? And right now, you do not have to complete a lunch application. So we received a grant from federal monies where every single student, every single 2,700 students on campus eat for free for the whole year. So that's for breakfast, lunch, and supper. So at nutrition break, students can get breakfast. They usually get a milk, juice, pastry, fruit, and then they can also get their lunch. And then for those that stay after school whether they're participating in sports or in the after-school program, all of which are free, they also can get supper. And that usually is served around 3:45 p.m. because if they're extending their day, they're going to be on campus. We want to make sure that they're well nourished and that their stomachs are full and can function for the rest of their extended day. So no, you do not have to fill out a lunch application, but here's the other part of the question. A lot of you know that if you qualify for free or reduced lunch, those of you who have students in AP classes, advanced placement classes, you know that if you qualify for free or reduced lunch, that you can then qualify for the reduced amount for exams. So instead of paying the $90 for every test that your student may take in May when they take their AP exam, I believe it's only $5 that they have to pay. So what we're doing, what the district is doing, and you'll see this in the next week or two, we'll send it to you via Jupiter Grades and Infinite Campus, is there is going to be a form we are asking all of our families to complete. And it's not just in case your student is taking AP tests, it's also the way that we get funding. A little earlier when I was promoting our Title I group and our school site council, I was referencing the money that our school gets. Well, we only get that money if we submit information that proves that our students qualify for free or reduced lunch, or we identify what percentage of our students qualify for free or reduced lunch. We usually have about 84% of our students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. And that is why we get good funding that can help support us in the classroom. So in the next week or so, you're going to get a form, and it's a very simple form. They've made it so easy for everyone to complete. It's 2 questions. All you're going to have to do is answer how many adults and children live in your household. And the second question is how much income goes into the household. So all you have to do is put the total number of adults and children, let's say it's 7 in the household, and then what's the total amount of income that goes into the household, and that's what you put in there. Those are the only 2 questions you have to complete, submit it, and then that's how we are able to get our funding. So that should be coming to your email shortly in the next week or so. The next question I have here is in regards to online classes. Is it possible for students to continue with distance learning like they did last year? Well, unfortunately, not through Sweetwater High School and not through most comprehensive high schools in the district. All teaching and learning is in person, so all students do need to attend classes. But there is an option through another school in our district, and that's called Launch Academy. So Launch Academy is a fairly new school that opened up last year in our district. And what they do is they do have teachers that provide instruction online, but that's a separate school. It's not part of Sweetwater High School. It's in our district, but your student wouldn't be enrolled at Sweetwater High School. They would be enrolled in Launch Academy. If that is something you are highly considering, you can reach out to your assistant principal. Not sure if someone on our team can write or type the phone number in the chat box if anyone needs to reach the assistant principal's office. And I believe the number is 619-474-9710. If I can type it really quick, it's just, I like to make sure I talk through, but then if I have to stop and type. Oh, thank you, Ms. Inigas. Thank you. I was trying to type it, but I see you already did. Thank you so much. So the AP office, there's a number 474-9710. And let them know that you wish to speak to your assistant principal because you would like to talk to them about an alternative to students coming to campus, and that would be Launch Academy. But here's what I also want to add this because some parents have asked me this. You know, Dr. Gavin, can we go to Launch Academy for like a month or 2, and once COVID cases start to go down again, come back to Sweetwater? Unfortunately, you would have to at minimum devote a semester at Launch Academy. So if you choose to go to Launch Academy, the earliest you could probably come back to Sweetwater is January. And then you're taking a risk that we have the classes your student needs, because right now we have about 2,700 students. We actually have more students enrolled at Sweetwater than we were projected to have, which is a good thing. People want to be a Red Devil. They want to be at Sweetwater High School, which is great. But If they leave, I'm not saying we can't take them back, but they may not have the classes that they need available to them at that time. So, and it would be at least a 1 semester commitment. You can't go for a month or two and then come back. The earliest you might be able to come back is in January. But again, talk to your assistant principal. They can walk you through that information as well. And then finally, the last question I have here before I open it up to other questions is that we are, getting information about COVID cases. And that's something that you should all have been receiving. You should be receiving the notices that we send our families if and when we have a COVID case on campus.
Si hay alguien que indica que resultó positivo para COVID.
To all of our families. Now, it doesn't mean that means everyone automatically, all 2,700 students and 200 staff members are automatically infected. It's giving you that awareness that it is happening. And as much as inside, all staff and students must wear their masks indoors, whether they're in a classroom, if they're even walking through the main office, they have to wear a mask. You saw earlier some of the counselors, because they were sharing a laptop to introduce themselves. If any staff members were fully vaccinated, I'm fully vaccinated, but if someone were to walk into my office right now, I always have my mask ready to put on, and that's what we do here at Sweetwater. Everyone must wear their masks indoors, and that's students and staff. But once everyone leaves Sweetwater, right, we don't have control as far as people wearing masks, getting their vaccine, being a friend that they don't believe is positive or contagious. You never know, so you have to protect yourselves. So a lot of times what's happening is people are getting COVID from outside, but once we are made aware that they are positive and that they were on campus, we're close contact because our nurse has been doing an outstanding job interviewing all of our students. And there's Ms. Wegner. I'll give you a minute to maybe say a few more words about the process. But if anyone has been deemed a close contact, then you get them principals. So we do reach out to you and give you additional information if we believe you have been a close contact to someone that was positive on campus. Nurse Wegner, I'll go ahead and hand it over
Sure,
to you.
I'll just add real fast because I know it does get a little bit confusing, the letters that are sent home, just because we do have a different scenarios. So sometimes students are CS, usually that's when I have a parent come and pick up a student. That student is then excluded from school until they're tested, they get tested for COVID. If students are symptomatic, whether they're vaccinated or not, in that case, it doesn't matter. They have to go home and come back with a positive or a negative test result. If they're positive, they're home for 10 days. A close contact in a classroom. Because in the classroom, students are wearing masks, they're able to be on the modified 10 days. So some of you get that phone call that your student was on that positive. In this case, what you can do is if your student's vaccinated, just monitor them for symptoms, they're good to go. If they're not vaccinated, they can be on campus at least up to 4 times, but at least 2 times. Test when you first get the letter and then again 3 to 4 days later. Sometimes students are identified as close contacts outside of this. Sometimes comes from parents reporting that their student at home was close to unvaccinated user. So last time you saw your friend was on the 1st, we start counting 10 days past the 1st. Some parents have been asking me if they are living with somebody that tested positive for COVID, their student might be out for a longer time period because it's always from the last day of exposure. So if mom tests positive for COVID and student's living with mom, student has to do the mom's 10-day quarantine and then his or her own 10-day quarantine. So it can be up to 20 days. Some of you might be, and this is my last thing and then I'll go, sorry. Some of you might be getting this potential close contact. That seems to be the most confusing letter that parents have been receiving. A potential close contact is when we cannot identify every student in the classroom that was sitting close to the positive student. So we always send this letter out to parents. Hey, there was a positive student in the classroom. There's a chance that your student was around this student. Now, if you get this letter, this really is more of a courtesy letter to just kind of extra monitor your student. Your student can still be on campus. You're not required to have them tested, only with this potential close contact letter. Just keep an extra eye on them. If they're starting to get symptoms, go on ahead and get them tested. But the potential close contact letter, that's just identifying somebody in the classroom tested positive, but we didn't identify your child as that close contact. In that case, just monitor your child. They can still come to school. They're not required to test. I hope that made a little bit more sense. I'm sorry, there's a lot of different scenarios that we're working with. So we're gonna try to, when we try to send out our letters, I try to add a little section there that's very specific to why we're sending out that specific letter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nurse Begner. I do appreciate all of your work and support in making sure that we continue to have a safe and healthy environment at Sweetwater. And parents, we know it's a lot of information. It can be very confusing. Completely understand. I know I saw a comment or question in the chat asking, we get so many notices, sometimes daily. Is it possible to not have to send them every day or streamline them? And unfortunately, no. Every time we're made aware of a case, we must send a notice. So we are sorry, we apologize, but if you're confused or have questions, please reach out to us because we don't want you to be confused or frustrated or wondering, what to do next. So if you're confused, have questions, please reach out to our school. We will do our best to get to your question. We will continue to communicate with you. Like I said at the very beginning of the meeting, and those of you who have known me for years now, I've always said communication is key to any relationship, whether it's professional or personal. You have to communicate with one another. If you have questions, we need to hear them because otherwise we're not going to know what you're wondering about. And we certainly want to make sure that your student is successful, that they continue to be safe and healthy on campus. And that's the best way to do it, for us to communicate with one another. So those were all the questions that were emailed to me. But if any of you have any additional questions, you can either type them in the chat box or you can unmute. That might be quicker. You can unmute and ask your question. Si tienen preguntas, pueden escribirlas en el chat, o si gustan tener acceso a su micrófono, pueden hacer su pregunta.
Bueno, ¿me pueden escuchar? Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mucho gusto, doctora. Me llamo Ana y tengo una pregunta. Por ejemplo, si mi niño se infecta, ¿verdad? Dios quiera no, ¿verdad? Que le da el COVID.
Sí.
Y se tiene que quedar en casa como, no sé, 2 semanas, dependiendo la situación, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Como acaban de decir. ¿Él va a perder clases? ¿Le pueden dar las clases online? Es porque mi hijo no quiere perder clases, él quiere ir a la escuela.
Claro. Ok, muy buena pregunta. Voy a repetir la pregunta en inglés. ¿Y usted tiene traducción, señora, o puede entender en inglés?
Sí entiendo,
Okay.
sí le entiendo. Ajá.
Muy bien. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the question in English because some of you may have the same question. So the question is, so let's say my student gets COVID and now they're quarantined, they're having to stay home. The fear that a lot of parents and students have is that they're going to then miss classes, right? So the question is it possible to get online classes for those that are having to stay home? So unfortunately, no, because the teachers are giving live instruction, they're not able to give one-on-one instruction to students who are at home, but we also don't want our students to fall behind. So every single teacher, and I asked every teacher to do this, not every school I don't think is doing this, but all of our teachers are doing this, is every teacher was asked to have a Google Classroom for every single one of their classes. So just like last year, they had Google Classroom. And even though they met in Google Classroom, all the students had their assignments, their tests, any PowerPoint presentations that the teacher used in class, so that the students, if the students had to go back to review, they had access to that information. So if any student has to stay at home, then they go to their teacher's Google Classrooms and the assignments will be there. And they can complete the assignments, submit them to their teacher. Now, if they have questions or need support, they can email their teacher and say, Dr. Gavin, I'm sorry, I have to stay at home, I'm quarantined, but I have a question about this assignment. And the teacher can give them support during their prep period or after they finish giving instruction in the day, but not online because the teachers are giving live instructions, so they can't do both at the same time. But they have been instructed to make sure all the assignments are accessible to students, and that way they can complete them at home and submit them so they don't fall behind.
¿Y no le van a poner asistencia o va a hacer falta todos esos días?
So the question is, if the student is having to stay home, is it going to count as an absence or can they be counted as present? So we can only count students present when they're physically here at school. That's the law. We can't say that a student was in the classroom if they're really at home, but it is excused. So we note it in our system as an absence, but the reason is COVID related. So that tells us that they were told to stay home. They're not ditching school or choosing to stay home and do nothing. They were told to stay home. So we put it in the system as absence, but it's COVID related. So we know why they had to stay home. So it is excused.
Eso no le va a afectar, so no le va a afectar para su récord.
No, so it will not affect their attendance record as far as like their grade won't go down in citizenship. They won't be given consequences. They don't have to attend Saturday school to make it up. They were not in the classroom because they were told to not be in the classroom. It's not their fault. So that's why we have to code it in our system as AZ. Z tells us that we told them to stay home and it's excused.
Dr. Gavin, there's an earlier question from a parent that got lost in the chat. If you want me to read it to you.
Yes.
Okay, it says, it is impossible for my child to get his lunch due to extreme long lines. By the time he gets there, it's almost time to run to his next classroom. Will you have more available sites? I believe the parent is trying to see if there's more available on lunch.
Yes, so I see that. Thank you for bringing it up because I noticed it did start to get buried in the chat. So thank you. So we have about 10 lines during lunchtime. Now, when I go out there, because I'm out there with the other supervisors, making sure students are safe, and I noticed that the lines, we have a 35-minute lunch. I want to say after about 10, maybe 15 minutes, there are no lines. So I'm not sure where they're standing to get lunch because, and I'll go observe again today, but we have 10 different lines. There are the lines in the cafeteria, and then we have the portable carts that are throughout the campus because we also don't want everybody going to the cafeteria because we have about 5 lines there, but then we have 5 carts spread throughout the whole campus. So we have carts that are close to most classrooms. So it's best if they go to that cart and get their lunch there. And again, I've observed that usually the lines are gone about 10, maybe no more than 15 minutes into lunch, and students get a 35-minute lunch. So I'm not sure why students might be saying that maybe they're waiting for the line to go down and they go at the very end, because I've seen some students do that. They wait until the last 5 minutes of lunch and they say, oh good, there's no line, but there's no lines after 10 or 15 minutes. So they kind of have to be cognizant of the time and try to get over there to get their lunch. And the cafeteria staff are serving until the final bell rings. But yes, if they're getting their lunch right before the bell rings, they're not going to have time to eat it. So they have to try to get it before that final bell. And there are no lines. I've observed that. And I'll observe again today, but I haven't seen it. If a student, for whatever reason, is having problems getting their lunch, or they're saying when they get there, it's a long line, please have them see me. I mean, I walk the campus during lunch all the time. Or if they can go up to anyone with a little walkie-talkie. So all of us who are outside supervising, we carry these so we can communicate with each other, and they can find us and ask us, but that shouldn't be the case. And I know, I want to say it was a couple of years ago, I had a parent who was saying that their son or daughter was saying they can never get lunch, the lines are long. I invited the parent because I thought, I see it, I don't see the lines, but I invited the parent, you're welcome to join me during lunch and I'll show you, because maybe there's a different problem or issue, but we certainly want to communicate with our students and make sure they get their lunch. Everyone needs to get fed during the day. And like I said, everyone qualifies for free breakfast, lunch, and supper. So I want to make sure they all get their meals while they're here.
Tengo otra pregunta, disculpe.
Sí, por favor.
¿Van a aceptar voluntarias en la escuela?
Good question. The question is, are we going to accept volunteers on campus? So right now, and thank you, we do need volunteers. I miss our volunteers. We always had our volunteers on campus at our parent center working with Alma Martinez. And that made me so sad when they haven't been on campus. We always appreciated your support. So right now, we're not taking volunteers, but soon we should be able to start getting volunteers back. Again, it starts depending on our COVID cases and what the district is recommending. So for the month of August, we're not, but Alma, our parent liaison, she received the paperwork that if you want to be a volunteer, you do have to complete paperwork, and she has it. So if you reach out to her, to Alma Martinez, she can provide you the volunteer paperwork. You can also call the front office, and my assistant, Jacen Camunas, she has the volunteer paperwork. You can at least fill it out, turn it in. We can send it to the district, and that way you're cleared. So once we let you know that, hey, you can come back to campus and help volunteer, that would be great. So a lot of our parent volunteers, they helped in the parent center. So they helped Ms. Martinez with any different tasks that needed to be taken care of. Some of our parents in the past also helped supervise, like they wore their red vests and they walked the campus, and they let us know if they saw something strange, or, hey, I think we need someone to go check out this group over here. There are a lot of students here, but we don't have any supervisors. So they brought things to our attention, which was great. They didn't address students. They didn't work with the students, but they were our eyes and ears, which was great. They were able to give us a lot of information. So we do miss our parent volunteers. If any of you are considering a volunteer, please fill out the paperwork, which you can get from Ms. Martinez in the Parent Center. And again, if you call the main office and let them know you want to talk to Ms. Martinez in the Parent Center, they will connect you to her and she will provide the paperwork. So at least you can get that in, because sometimes it takes a few weeks to process. And that way, when we're ready to take volunteers, you can come back and join us. Great. We'll let you know.
There are
Excuse
two
me.
parents that are raising their hand. Ms. Norma Sandoval and Ms. Ashella have their hand. They want to ask a question.
Okay.
So Ms. Norma Sandoval, you're first on the list. Señora Norma Sandoval, tenía una pregunta. ¿Tiene su mano alzada? O Ms. Ashella? I don't know if it was a mistake on their hat, but they have their
I have a question.
Yes.
So my question is, I know that the nurse mentioned that if some of the students have been in close contact with another person that has been infected or tested positive for COVID, that the students have to test negative before coming back on campus if they're unvaccinated, but that vaccinated students get to stay on campus. My question is, shouldn't vaccinated students also have to test negative because they could still spread COVID?
So I can answer that. We do ask vaccinated students to go on ahead and get tested if they are symptomatic. When they're symptomatic, that is a risk then that they might be able to spread it. But if they're not symptomatic and vaccinated, this is coming from the San Diego County Public Health guidelines for us. They actually are exempt from testing. This is why it's a fantastic choice to have your students vaccinated when they are fully vaccinated and 2 weeks past their last dose. All of these notices that you are getting is just basically just kind of a, hey, just to let you know, but your student can continue to come to school completely undisrupted. So the only time a vaccinated student would have to stay home is if they're sick.
Even though they test positive for COVID?
Well, a student that tests positive for COVID is never going to be able to be on campus, but a student that was identified as being a close contact that is vaccinated, as long as they're feeling fine, they're okay to be on campus. We're only asking them to be tested and per the county guidelines if they're symptomatic. We know that our vaccination, when we have students that are fully vaccinated, the efficacy of the vaccine is very high. So it's unlikely that they're going to be turning positive.
Right, but I think unlikely doesn't prove, right, that they're still positive and can spread COVID. So shouldn't they also have to test and prove that they're negative? Because even if they're asymptomatic, they can still spread it.
A asymptomatic, fully vaccinated student right now per county guidelines does not need to test.
Okay, so if there was a...
Can I say a comment?
Go ahead.
I think this thing about COVID-19 right now is just getting out of hand. I think you're gonna get parents more confused about asking questions. I think what you need to do is set your protocol, and then the questions from parents like this, if she has concerns about that, they can go directly to either the nurse or someone that can give that information, because
So basically be quiet because we have concerns, be quiet and shut up so that people.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
Just don't bring it up in the presence of other parents, right? So that it stays, so people don't know. Is that what you're saying?
Because parents are gonna get confused, they're gonna get concerned, and then you're gonna start an issue with, well, oh, now they told me this, they send me letters and they say something else. I think Sweetwater, the district has a protocol that they need to follow. And this questions about somebody being vaccinated, who already got both of the shots or one shot or whatever, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get more parents confused. They're gonna be concerned, and then it's gonna become a chaos.
So let me interject. I'm sorry.
They should have questions, and it should be okay for us to openly have the discussion.
Yeah, but
so I'm sorry, if I can please interject, because I want to make sure that everyone feels respected. Because yes, you're all entitled to ask your questions, express any concerns, and that throughout the meeting. And if there's any confusion, we do encourage people, our parents, our students to ask questions to get clarification. And we will try to provide the answers that you need to get that clarification. I know sometimes we may not provide all the answers that you need for you to be able to make your decisions, but we will always do our best to try to do that. So I do encourage that our parents to always ask their questions if they need to. That's what we're here to do. And in regards to, and if everyone can please be on mute, I'm getting a lot of backbeat, sorry. So unless we prompt you to speak, please, thank you so much. I was just getting a lot of backbeat, but we're here to answer your questions and we will continue to do that. And that's why I always turn to our nurse. She has a wealth of knowledge. And again, we are getting these protocols from our district. So even if some may not agree with the protocols, unfortunately, these are the protocols we are asked to follow. We have 2,700 students, 2,700 families, and we are doing our best to communicate with you as far as next steps or what should be done. But like Ms. Wegner said earlier, sometimes situations are very specific, and so then she's able to maybe she or an administrator can give you those next steps depending on the specific incident or your child's case or your family's case. So although we send the general letter home, that's the letter we send to everyone. But if we need to give you, your family, your student, very specific, different information, we will reach out to you. Because it may be a different protocol to what's in the general letter because of your specific incident. So we will continue to do that. And someone asked in the chat if we were to continue to have more cases, is there the possibility we'll go back to online learning? And I don't know about that. I don't know what that magic number is. That's not a decision I would make. That's something, that's a decision the district would make, but based on the guidance that the county, the public health department in our county would give us. So I don't know if there's a magic number, but right now the goal is to try to keep students in school safely, of course. And one of the other questions I want to go back to that I saw in the chat is, are the classrooms disinfected every period? And so students, when they walk in, sorry, the bell's ringing. When students walk into the classroom, all teachers have disinfectant wipes and everyone has access to those where they can disinfect their desk before they sit down. But unfortunately, we don't have custodians that are able to go to every single classroom between periods. It's impossible because, sorry, my light went out. Passing periods are only 5 minutes. So there's no way we could clean 110 classrooms in 5 minutes. So, but there are cleaning supplies and disinfectant wipes and I've seen it. Students walk in, they grab it, they clean their desk, but all classrooms are thoroughly cleaned at the end of every day. So for the next day, they are clean, disinfectant. And again, the best thing that we promote with our students is to wear masks, because a lot of the contact that can come from a infected person to another is through that direct contact. When people are not wearing masks, they're talking to each other, they're hugging, they're spending a lot of time together. So that's usually how they may contact COVID. It's not so much by touching surfaces, although it is good to make sure you're in a clean surface, which is why we do provide those cleaning supplies to all of our staff and students so they may use it. And then something you probably received already while we've been at Coffee with the Principal, if you check your email, Operation Samahan right across the street. I was just made aware of it this morning, right before coming to Coffee with the Principal, is that Operation Samahan tomorrow is offering vaccinations. So if you're 12 years or older and still need your vaccine, and this is going to be the Pfizer vaccine, you can go tomorrow across the street from Sweetwater High School. So it's a great opportunity. Sorry, the bell. 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. noon, you can go and get the Pfizer vaccine. That'll be your first dose. And then 3 weeks from tomorrow, which will be the August 28th, also on a Saturday, they'll tell you where you're going to get your second dose. I don't think it's going to be at Operation Samahan, but they'll tell you where in National City you'll go get your second dose of the vaccine. So that is something we're promoting with our families and our students. Obviously, it's not mandatory. That's still your decision. But we are encouraging our families and students to get the vaccine. That seems to be the safest way to make sure we don't get COVID. And let me check the box to see if there are any other questions that were typed in.
I have two questions, but once you finish.
Okay, I see a question here. If there's any way students can pick or choose their counselor, if they feel that their counselor is not very helpful to them. So as they mentioned at the beginning when they introduced themselves, is they assign themselves to a certain number of students. So unfortunately, based on 2,700 students, every counselor has about 350 students on their caseload, and those are the students they work with from year to year. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water. And so if for any reason there are any issues where the student or parent feels that the communication or response is not there, I ask you to reach out to me. You can reach out to one of the assistant principals, but I'm letting you know you can also reach out to me and let me know, and I will fix that. I will work on that with the counselor in a way that doesn't put your student in a bad position, of course, because we always want to be here to serve our students. But unfortunately, we cannot switch from one counselor to another because by their contract, they're supposed to have a certain number of students. So for example, we can have a student or one counselor with 400 contacts and another counselor with 300. It goes against our contract. But I'm not going to say that if your student or you as a parent do not feel you're getting the service that you need to reach out to me and I will make sure we fix that, because that's not something you should have to, deal with. It's something we can certainly fix. And then someone had a question. If you want to unmute again and ask your question.
Yes, this is Mr. Ortega. My question to you is, has you guys worked on or discussed the issue of the traffic impact in the morning and also in the afternoon at Sweetwater? Because 2 days ago, there's parents that are dropping off their kids in the middle of the street. And let me tell you, an accident is about to probably happen because nobody's watching. Parents are not either they're not using common sense. But that's an issue that is happening every day. And I want to know if you guys are working on resolving an issue like that, because it's a chaos. That's my first question.
Okay, so to answer that question, yes, in reference to at the beginning in the morning, when people are dropping off students in the morning or picking them up at the end of the day, I've seen it. Yes, some are being dropped off in the middle on Highland. They just stop in the middle lane and students either get out of the car or they get in, which is very dangerous. We will send another, I'll write myself a note because we do send communication home to parents to please not do those things, to please be safe. Sometimes we suggest to parents, look, I know there's a lot of traffic. Maybe you go somewhere 1 or 2 blocks from Sweetwater and drop off your student there and they can walk the rest of the way, because that is dangerous. But unfortunately, we don't have the manpower, nor can we be out on the street. We can be on our campus, but I can't have staff be out on the street dictating traffic, because then if there were an accident, then we're liable, because someone could say it was based on our instructions. So when talking to National City Police Department, they said, you know, when we're on campus, we can do the best we can, but we can't be out on the street or out on the sidewalk directing traffic. So we will send a communication to our parents, and we always just ask that they please practice the driving laws, the safety laws, because someone can get hurt and we don't want that to happen. And then it's also, sorry, there's a bell. We also encourage that if possible, I know it can be easier said than done, but it's not trying to get here right before school starts or trying to pick up your student right after school ends. It's maybe giving yourself that extra time in the morning. I know when students are getting dropped off around 7:10, it's good, but 7:15 and on, it's a lot of traffic. So people get impatient, restless, they have to get to work, I get it, but we could cause an accident, someone could get hurt, and that's dangerous. The same thing after school. It's maybe having your son or daughter wait 5, 10, 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes when traffic dies down, and then come and pick them up. Because if you're dropping them off or picking them up,
si los están dejando cuando una sugerencia, ¿han pensado en abrir otra ruta, otra parte, en lugar de que no lleguen por aquí? Eso eliminaría algo de problema.
What you're telling me, you know, whatever you're going to do, I don't think it's going to resolve the issue.
No,
it's
I
going
know,
to resolve the issue when an accident happens, or either a student gets run over, and then that's when you guys are going to decide, oh, we got to do something because obviously this is causing an issue. Don't wait until an accident happens. I'm telling you, it's an issue right now of safety. Okay,
right.
It's a safety issue.
We do have other access points. It's not just the front of the school. Students can also come in from 28th and F. And we also have the gates open on 30th Street where students can walk in through there. So,
and parents know that, right? The parents know that?
Yes. So if you drive around the school, you'll see the entry points. There's one on 30th Street. It's kind of close to our cafeteria. And then there's another one on 28th and F. That's next to the staff parking lot and kind of by our baseball fields. Students can come in through there as well.
And they can also exit through there too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yes, we open up the whole, students can walk out from different exit points. Yeah.
Okay. My second question, there was an audio video about a teacher, a female teacher at Sweetwater. I know that the issue of dress code it's an issue right now with your school, but there was an audio that was recorded by a student on a female teacher indicating to students that you guys got female teachers and that, I mean, when you're in campus, you got to use the dress code. When you're off campus, you can get undressed if you want. They don't care. My question to you, with comments like that are very inappropriate from a teacher, indicating that to students about, oh, well, you know, there are also male teachers. Well, you know what? I mean, I think male teachers get a teaching credential because their main purpose is to teach, not to be involved with students in any other issues. So are you guys taking action? Are you doing a disciplinary action against these teachers or this teacher? Because I know that you guys are very strict on students, And anything that a student does, the parents get called, we get emails, we get texts, we get calls, we get all this. But when teachers do something, I don't hear nothing about you guys doing either some disciplinary action against this type of comments. I think that was a very inappropriate comment from this female teacher telling students, when you're off campus, you can take off your clothes if you want, but when you're on campus, you got to use your dress code. Very inappropriate. I don't think for a professional that is teaching at a school can be saying comments like that. I mean, that comment should have just not even, it shouldn't even been mentioned at all.
Okay, so I want to clarify because I did hear that recording and that was not from our teacher at our school. If we're referencing the same recording, that was not a teacher from our school. It was a teacher from a different school in our district. But I do want to emphasize that if and when a staff member is not conducting themselves in a professional manner, it is addressed. The thing is that we don't announce it. We don't email or even if you were to call me and say, hey, what happened to this teacher that did XYZ? We do address it, but because it's a personnel matter, we can't disclose what that disciplinary action was with that staff member, but it is documented and shared with the district, and there is disciplinary action depending on what the action was. So just like with students, if a student does something that deserves disciplinary action, we share what that disciplinary action is with the student and their parents, but we don't announce it to other students or their parents because that's private and we can't disclose that information. But again, what you're referring to, I heard it a couple of days ago. A student shared it with me. Says, hey, Dr. Gavin, listen to what a teacher said at this other school. And I heard it and it wasn't inappropriate. I mean, I know that person was referencing the dress code that, that's why, sometimes guys look at girls the way they do. And I said, no, that's not a message we're sending to our student body. There are two separate things. Yes, there is a dress code guideline we have here at school, and it's only to promote dressing for success, dressing appropriately for school. But at no time are we saying that if and when anyone says or does anything toward a young lady, it's because of what they were wearing. That is completely opposite of what we're teaching our students. We're teaching everyone to be respectful of everyone, no matter what they wear. I mean, again, yes, we have the dress code guidelines, but at the same time, we continue to educate our students on how to treat everyone with respect. And so again, if and when, even though that case was a different teacher at a different school, but to answer your question, if and when a staff member does cross the line or says or does anything inappropriate, we do address it, we do document the action, and depending on what that action was, there is discipline that comes with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I will go ahead and scan. I think those are all the questions in the chat, and I think someone put our community relations facilitator, Alma Martinez Moran, our community relations facilitator information, her email and phone number in the chat. So if you want to note it, if you want to be a parent volunteer, you have questions where you might feel more comfortable asking Ms. Martinez Moran, you can go ahead and do that. But again, you can call the school, let them know what your question is, and then they can direct you to the appropriate person. We're always here to help. And we have coffee with the principal the first Friday of every month. You'll get those, the meeting link. We will continue to do them virtually. And as the county and the district gives us guidance, where we can start going back to having them in person when we feel it's safe for everyone, you will get that notification. But we want to continue having them even online so we can continue having this communication between us all. Now, if any of you have any specific questions pertaining to your son or daughter, you can always reach out to any of us. You can call us at the school, send us an email, and we'll address your questions. You don't have to wait until coffee with the principal, because if you have a question tomorrow, I don't want you to wait until September 3rd when we have our next coffee with the principal. Please make sure you reach out to us before then so we can answer your question.
Dr.
Okay.
Gavin,
yes.
I know that we're over our meeting, but there is about 4 parents that have their hands up. I'm not sure if they have a question, but there is 4 parents.
So Sonia, I see Sonia has her hands up. You have a question?
Sí, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Tengo 2 hijas ahorita en la Sweetwater, una en el 9, otra en el 10. Pero estoy tratando la verdad yo no entiendo el inglés y la verdad el traductor se corta mucho, no se entiende bien lo que dice, me estoy perdiendo toda la junta. Yo quisiera saber si no se pudiera hacer como un resumen de todo lo que se habló y lo pueden mandar por email, o si se puede hacer una junta, por ejemplo, ahorita tengo otra hija en elementary y, por ejemplo, hacen ellos también juntas, pero hacen un tiempo para puro inglés y otro tiempo para puro español, porque ahorita la verdad, yo sé que ustedes hacen todo lo posible para que nosotros los que no hablamos inglés, pues podamos entender, ¿verdad? Pero en el fondo se escuchan las voces de las personas que hablan inglés y luego el traductor, entonces es confuso y la verdad pues ya me perdí toda la junta. Entonces, y también pues si se puede, no sé, tal vez hacer 2 horarios, porque yo conozco una mamá también que le gustaría meterse a la junta, pero está en horas de trabajo. Entonces, no sé si se pudiera hacer por la tarde no sé, ¿verdad? Pero esa es mi pregunta y mi duda, ¿verdad? Porque pues ya me perdí toda la junta, no entiendo todo exactamente lo que dicen y sí tenía también
Sí.
preguntas, pero no quiero tomarles mucho su tiempo.
Ok, sí, disculpas. Déjeme ver si podemos trabajar con nuestro traductor, a ver si eso se puede arreglar. Y si no, ya noté aquí en mis notas que vamos a considerar o ver si podemos tener una en inglés y una en español. Voy a hablar con el grupo. So the question or concern was that for those that are Spanish speakers, they are here, they want to be involved, get all the information just like everyone else, but unfortunately, it seemed like today we were having some issues with the translation. I'm not sure if things were cutting out or the information was.
Que se están cortando. Esta mamá en particular dice que pues no pudo la pregunta si nos podemos asegurar de que los servicios de interpretación funcionen sin o si podemos considerar tener 2 cafés con director, uno en inglés y otro solo en español. Así es que vamos a trabajar en esto. A veces lo que es difícil con la pregunta y respuesta, yo puedo contestar en inglés o en español. Probablemente es mejor que en español, pero puedo contestar en español.
You might be guest presenters, like earlier we had Miss Patty Cruz who presented on our academies, and she's not bilingual, so that would be the only difficulty is getting others who are not bilingual to present information. But we're going to work on it and see. We want to make sure everyone gets the information. Yes. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, Ashila, do we have a hand up, I think?
Hi, yes, it's Ashella.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry this is run over, but I still want to thank everybody for all their input, and I did have a couple concerns. I did hear something along the lines of how a certain student might be in close contact with somebody that did contract COVID and what the cases were on being tested 2 to 4 times, but I think I might have heard that student was allowed to be on campus and being tested 2 to 4 times within a 10-day period. I'm curious for those parents that may have a similar question. Is campus providing those tests on campus to help those students get their requirements in for the 2 to 4? And then also a big, huge concern that I didn't even realized should have come to my attention until another parent asked me was the capacity of the school right now, considering, and I'm going to piggyback off what you said, keeping kids in school safely. Are we over capacity per classroom? I've heard rumors of other parents now that I've asked, because my main concern was COVID, but I never thought to ask my student, how many kids are in your classroom? And he's bumping into things just to move from his seat. And asking another parent, she said that her daughter's classroom has some students sitting on the floor. And I'm like, what is going on with I understand you guys got to balance, but then I'm hearing other rumors about potential teachers sitting at home waiting for an offer. Another parent said she put in a request to have this, I guess, answered at Coffee with the Principal, but I'm bringing it up because I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm concerned about that because I wasn't aware. I was just morally asking my student, hey, are you washing your hands? Are you keeping your distance? Or are you just being diligent in personal space? Because I didn't think about capacity as the issue to begin with, but I am concerned about that now.
Okay, well, first, thank you for emphasizing to your student to wear their mask, to stay distance, wash their hands throughout the day, because that is really the best thing all students can be doing while on campus. And then going to your first question, so no, we don't have on-site COVID testing on campus every day, but next week, next Thursday, we are going to have testing on campus from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for any students or community members that are interested. And we are sending that information to our families on Monday. So you will get that information early next week as far as testing on campus. But unfortunately, we don't have the means or capacity to do that every day, COVID testing. But we do also send to, in the letter in our community, we do send messages about where you can go get tested in the community. So we always ask our students, go somewhere in the National City community or nearby to get tested, because we're not going to be able to offer it on our campus every day. Like I said, next week on Thursday, we'll be able to offer it. And there are other school sites in our district that offer it on different days, but it won't be every day. So there's that. Now, as far as capacity in the classrooms, so right now when we were allowed, given the green light by the state of California, the county, to start classes again, because they did also want to encourage us to have students on campus. They felt like the learning is so much better when you're in person, which we agree with. But of course, if we're going to do that, we're going to do it safely to ensure everyone's health, good health. And they did mandate that we wear masks inside classrooms. So that's not even an option. If a student takes off their mask, which we haven't had a problem with. I mean, but if a student were to take off their mask or say, I can't breathe, I have trouble breathing, I'm sorry. I mean, when they need a breath, they tell the teacher, hey, can I go outside and just take a breath? And they do. They go outside by themselves, take a breath, come back in with their mask on. But there is no social distancing regulation. So it's not like they have to be 3 or 6 feet distance like they used to several months ago. So on average, every classroom is different, but on average, there may be 30 something students in each class, but we make sure that everyone sits in their own desk, that they don't switch desks. The teachers have seating charts where, okay, Maribel Gavin sits here, Sheila sits here, Norma sits here, and that's your seat throughout the week, throughout the month, the semester. And that way, the teacher has a record of that. We don't allow students to switch desks. And like you said, it sounds like you tell your son, I believe, is make sure you stay distance. Don't, stand too close with anyone. We also try to promote that during lunch, right? When students are out with their friends, we tell them, I know they're your friends, and I know masks are optional outside. Although I have to say, I see most students wearing their mask outside. Some do take it off because it is optional and they want to take a breath. Some only take it off to eat their food, but then as soon as they're done, they put it back on. But it is the safest thing to do, is to reinforce to your students for them to make that decision and choice to keep their mask on, stay distanced, and to not get too friendly with their friends during lunchtime where they feel comfortable taking off their mask, because in their head they think, oh, this is my friend, I've known him for years. There's no way they look healthy, they seem healthy. You just never know. But we are also still currently reducing some of the class sizes in some of our bigger classes, like our drama, our art appreciation. Those classes are a little bigger, but we just opened up new classes to spread those students out a little bit more. So we're doing the best we can to keep our students spread out, and they're assigned seats in the classroom where they can't move around. But I would say the average classroom size is 30 something right now.
Una pregunta.
Oh, I'm sorry. Norma had her hand. Sorry, Ana, you'll be next, but I had Norma. Norma. Oh, I'm sorry.
I understand. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So Norma and then Miss Scott. So Norma, did you have your hand up? And then I'll go to Miss Scott. Okay, Miss Scott, I'll go to you if you can unmute and ask your question, please.
Okay, my question was on the committees, the SST and the other committee. Are those held during school hours? And also, our coffee with the principals only during school hours, because I'm only off today, and for future note references. Do you have them anything in the evening?
So right now we don't, but we can certainly contemplate that. What we can do is send out a survey to our parents to see where the majority would like to have them. So traditionally, Coffee with the Principal has been at 8:30 in the morning, the first Friday of every month. The Title I meetings also tend to be on a Friday, but in the morning, like at 9:30. And then School Site Council does meet usually the third Thursday of the month at 2:45 p.m. And usually those run 1 hour. And the reason why it's at 2:45 is because it's comprised of not only parents, but students and staff. So that's the best time for all three groups, where it's right after school. And so hopefully we have parents that are able to make it, but it's once a month, the third Thursday of the month at 2:45 p.m. But that's for School Site Council. But what we can do is send out a survey to see if maybe we can make some of these meetings more accessible in the evening for those that work in the morning and afternoon, and we can certainly do that.
Yeah, that's what my question was, because I work and I'm not available during those times. I'm just off today.
Right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Ms. Norma Sandoval, did you have a question? If not, Ms. Ana, usted tenía una pregunta.
Sí, yo sé que tienen que seguir los protocolos, ¿verdad? De la escuela y todo, pero pues son muchos estudiantes en cada salón. ¿Cómo van a guardar distancia si son como 30 niños en un salón? Y se supone que sí tienen que ponerse la máscara, pero también guardar distancia, y pues usted sabe que son adolescentes, ¿no? Eso está difícil, ¿no?
Yeah, so the question is, how are students supposed to stay distance in the classroom when there are 30-something students in a classroom? And unfortunately, the thing is that with a school this size, we don't have the classrooms, like even if we were to try to divide everything in half to only have, say, 15 or 17 students in a classroom, we would need an entire whole Sweetwater High School, right? The double number of classrooms that we have. So unfortunately, with the number of classrooms that we have, we do need to have 30-something students in each class to be able to provide instruction to all students in person. And I know it can be easier said than done. The parent was saying that these are teenagers. We do tell them to keep their mask on, to stay distance, but sometimes teenagers don't always listen. But I know in the classroom, teachers know that it's not an option for students to take off their masks. They don't. And if for some reason someone has it under their nose, they tell them, no, you have to have it over your nose. So they may remind them, but they don't just let it go. And then those reminders are constantly there. So I know that can be very difficult to accept. And trust me, I wish we did have a whole extra facility and a whole extra group of teachers, because we wouldn't only need the extra facility, we would also need double the amount of teachers to provide instruction to all these smaller groups of students. So with the staff that we have and the facilities, the classrooms that we have, this is the best we can do. And it's not just at our school, it's throughout the district. I know Sweetwater we're one of the larger high schools. We're right behind Eastlake High School. But even at other schools, they're not as big as Sweetwater. Maybe their enrollment is lower. They have less students, but they also have less classrooms too. So across all the district, all of our classrooms are about 30-something right now. But we continue to send that message to our students. And it's also so helpful when you continue to remind your students. I know they might think they're being nagged to death, but it's okay. We can nag them every single day and enforce that they wear their masks, stay distance, and follow the protocols.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias, señora. And I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know it's 10:12, but it's okay. We've gone way over. I had a meeting with my boss. I already sent her a message that I was going to be late to our virtual meeting. But are there any other questions that haven't already been addressed?
Hello.
Hello? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Dr. Kevin. Kevin, sorry. My daughter got hurt twice. She got the half-filled water bottle on her chest last August 2nd, and she got a flying peach fruit on her right eye on the 3rd of August. It's so disgusting. It's always happened during lunchtime. Is there a way to stop this kind of student from wrongdoing?
Yes,
If they caught,
if
yeah,
when
if they
talking
caught,
to,
what are you gonna do with this student?
so if and when any students are caught doing any kind of wrongdoing, like say during lunch, they're throwing something and they're being careless, we're reminding students that we have cameras around campus and we can go back to the video. And then once we know who the student was, there are disciplinary actions. Like I said earlier, when we were talking in reference to if a staff member was involved in wrongdoing, we can't disclose to the general public what that consequence was. It's the same with other students. So even though we do discipline the student who was caught, we can't disclose what that discipline was. And I know a lot of parents, especially the parents of a victim, really want to know. They want to feel a sense of satisfaction that something happened, but unfortunately we can't, by law, we can't disclose that. But it is documented. We do put it on record, and there is disciplinary action. Disciplinary action can be suspension from school. They are put on a contract where if anything like that happens again, they can't stay here. I mean, there are different disciplinary actions, but again, unfortunately, we can't disclose to anyone other than the student's parent, that the parent of the student who's getting the disciplinary action. They're the only ones that have the right to be told what is happening with their student. But we do investigate, we do our best to make sure we stop that behavior, and it reminds us to further announce to students that that kind of behavior is not acceptable.
Okay. Because tell you frankly, I'm not happy with the answer of one of your APs. He said maybe like the punishment is like attending Saturday class. I believe
So
it's not enough.
I spoke to the assistant principal because I saw your question, and I addressed it with him, and he said that he gave that as an example. It could be Saturday school or suspension depending on the action. But again, we can't be specific. We can't say it's going to be suspension because again, we can't disclose that to you. But we do give examples. It could be Saturday school, it could be suspension, in addition to be placed on a contract. But again, we can't give you specifics. But Saturday school was just an example. It doesn't mean that that's what would happen to the student.
Okay.
But I did talk to him about it, and he confirmed that with me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, I do feel we need to conclude. Just, we've gone 45 minutes over, but if anyone has any other questions, please either call or email me, or I know Ms. Iniguez was putting a lot of different emails in the chat box, depending on who you may want to reach out to, or if you're not sure, you can always call our school and say you want to talk to the principal, or you want to, actually, I'll put my direct line in the chat box. So you have my direct phone number if you have any other questions, and then I'll also put my email in here. Okay, so that's my, oops, I put that under. Okay, so that's my direct phone number. And then I'm also going to put my email in case you ever want to reach out to me directly regarding any concerns. Again, I don't expect you to wait until the next coffee with the principal. If you have a question, please feel free to reach out to me, or you met a lot of different people here. So most of us are able to answer your questions. So please make sure you reach out to us. But I want to thank you for your continuous support. We'll continue to communicate with one another. And I look forward to seeing you again at next coffee with the principal. We'll probably send out a survey to see if some of you prefer the evening as opposed to the morning, or maybe we offer one of each. Maybe one will be in English, the other one will be in Spanish. We're going to try to see how we can best accommodate you. Okay, everyone have a great morning. Have a wonderful weekend. Please stay safe. And if you haven't gotten the vaccine, your children haven't gotten the vaccine, you can get it tomorrow across the street from Sweetwater High School at Operation Samahan from 8 to 12. You don't need an appointment. They're taking walk-ins. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.